Hi, I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to do this Zig Zag Fringe garden bracelet. It's really fun. It started out as a Facebook Live using up some materials from our Best Bead Box Treasure Edition. And I want to show you how you can make a simple fringe bracelet and challenge you to use 5 different shapes and colors, mixing them all together to create your own zigzag garden. If you need materials, look below the video in the description. We'll have them all linked up there for you that you can click on and get back to our website. As always, also make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here at PotomacBeads. Gather up your materials and let's get started. So this zigzag flower fringe bracelet started out as a Facebook Live, and I wanted to show you how to do this simple zigzag pattern and also how you can combine a variation of colors, styles of beads, and by the time you add enough together, it looks like it is well thought out and has a nice inclusion of a lot of different color ranges. So we're gonna make our own garden today. And for this, we are using some dragon thread. I have size 8 in green here that we'll be utilizing. And I have a collection of beads. I have some Czech flowers, leaves, some yellow rice shapes, some daggers in 2 different colors, some rondelles, crystals, 11 seed beads in 2 different colors of Azuki, and then 8 seed beads of Azuki as well. The first thing I'm going to do is put on a stop bead. And usually I put on a stop bead that's not actually part of my project because there's so much going on right now. I am putting this on the bottom here. I'm gonna leave some thread at the end because this thread at the end is what's really going to be used for my clasp. And I'm just gonna take my thread and needle through that bead 2 times, pushing the thread to the outside of the bead, and then we are going to start with this zigzag. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do fringe. You can build bases and then come back and you can embellish from the bases. We are just going to embellish basically every other bead, which is going to give us the zigzag pattern. So to begin, we are going to add 1 of our 8 seed beads. Then we're going to pick up however many 11 seed beads you want, your first bead, put a bead at the end of that. We're going to come back down through the bead, skipping the last one, and come back down the whole way till we're coming out the 8 seed bead. That last bead, whatever you put on the end, works as a stopper or a stop bead to have the beads so they don't fall off. We're gonna add another bead on, and we're gonna do the same thing. This time grabbing another color of bead. When I go in and create, I often will make it so that it is very colorful. Things look like they were intentional and they match, but I want to keep the colors spaced out a fair amount. And I also want to make sure that there's enough of the color in the bracelet design that it, again, looks intentional. You're going to put on your beads, go back through the last couple beads all the way down to the 8. That last bead again acts as a little anchor. Nice tight pull on your thread, never your needle. Add your next 8 seed bead. And then you can do some things like if you're doing a leaf or a dagger, you can do a couple seed beads leading up to the dagger, a couple more seed beads out of the dagger. You can even use some 8's to space out as well. So here I have some beads here on that dagger. I'm going back through the 8, nice tight pull, and making sure again those beads sit right in that zigzag row. Same thing here. I'll do 2 beads this time because I'm going to go back through 1 of them. I'll add a crystal on, a bead after the crystal, going back through the beads all the way down to come out the 8. And naturally, as you do this, you'll get that zigzag fringe pattern where it is coming out the end there. Anytime you see any extra thread showing, you're always going to want to grab that little bead that's the anchor at the end, kind of hold and pull back on that, give a nice tight pull, and then you can see you're again starting to get that zigzag. Add a bead, add a couple other beads if you want to. You can even add some 11 in gold at the end for a little picot trim, some 11 for a little bit more of that gold. See the purple coming out there, 2 beads on that fringe. These leaves are actually little drops, so you can add those in as well. And we can do little loops of seed beads that don't have any beads whatsoever. So we'll do that one next. Let's do a little purple loop here. I'll put on my next 8 seed bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my purple beads to create a little loop or a little purple petal. back through the 8-0 as part of that zigzag. Nice tight pull, and there's your next one. Now you can see the fringe starting to happen. We're gonna add in the flowers. We're gonna add in some of our leaves. We're gonna add in more daggers and just keep going. I love the look here of some of the darker beads, the lighter beads, throwing in that pop of blue, the pop of yellow, and then that bright red to make this zigzag floral garden grow. Keep going in, doing that same simple up and down the 8-0 and having a little bead as your stop bead to create and make your garden longer. How are hundreds of jewelry makers saving huge each month on premium jewelry making kits? With the PotomacBeads kit subscription, you'll receive 3 brand new kits every month for as little as $49.99. That gives you a savings of up to $70 per box on retail prices. And you get free shipping. And there's no long-term commitment. You can cancel at any time. Subscribe today and enjoy top quality kits and massive savings. Visit PotomacBeads.com/subscriptions today or click on the link below in the description to get links to get back to our website. As you're creating, after each little unit of fluff, you just kind of want to make sure and go back and hold that cord there and that thread there and just do that final little pull. Again, you can change it up. I did one of them where I did 3 purples, 1 of the crystals, and then came back. I'm gonna go in and add another one of my golden flowers here at this point, keeping it big. You can see a couple different leaf styles and really just letting the bracelet and your garden grow as you do it. As you do this, again, it becomes really colorful, really fun, and you get that gold zigzag in the middle that adds a little bit of that kind of metallic look that pulls all those colors together. After you get the length that you're looking for, you can put a clasp on. I'm using a nice bright table cup button in that blue color to kind of highlight those blue daggers that I included and bring that solid color in from the transparent. I've come down and I'm at the end here and I'm going to simply make a loop for my button to go into. You can do this with whatever beads you want, honestly, and kind of mix and match. Just make sure not to make the loop too big. I'm gonna go in and I'm just going to pick up a couple of my 8-0s to start out. Then I'm gonna pick up whichever 11-0s I still have on my mat. And I'm picking them up in any color range because that is kind of the way of the bracelet. Even going in then, going back to the 8s, kind of again, cleaning up all those 11s. I'm gonna skip the 14s from it. And I just need to make a loop that's big enough to go over my button. So I'm gonna go in here. Random 11, some 8s. I might need to pour myself just a tiny bit more out. I'll use the purple color because I really love that bright purple. And the Azuki seed beads have some really great colors. These are perfect for Azuki because you don't need to have a ton of small holes or big holes when it comes to delicas or things like that. Going back now to my last 2 beads, I'm going to go back through them. Make sure my loop is big enough to go through my button. Good to go there. I can put it on. I'm going to go then and I'm going to go into the bracelet a little bit and back pedal. How I'm going to back pedal is basically jump almost like I was doing a ladder stitch, where I'm going to skip over the next 8-0 and come back down through the second one. Make sure my thread doesn't get twisted into leaves, daggers, and beads. Oh my. Going back in here, then I'm going to go back through, reinforce this loop going back through all of my beads here. And you can see my starter thread is there. So I'm just going to bring this back into the starter thread and tie it off. On the other end where I put my button, I did the same thing. I just backed through the design a little bit and brought my thread back, tied it off onto pre-existing thread that was already there, and then burned down the thread edge. Here I am back in the center here. I'm gonna move out this extra thread. Let's just kind of hang it in there with my needle. There we go. Bring my thread end back to my starter beginning thread here, which was a white thread. Again, this is a great project to mix, match, get rid of things. And the challenge with this bracelet really is put together colors and beads that you would not normally throw together. Mix at least 5 different shapes, 5 different colors, and make that zigzag fringe bracelet. This zigzag garden is really fun for springtime, and I can't wait to see all of your different creations in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Share it there. We would love to see it. I'm showing you right now how I reinforce that loop. Then I'm going in and I'm tying that knot, going through that loop twice with my thread end, creating a nice sewer's knot, nice tight knot. And then because of the fringe style of the bracelet, I'm going to take my thread burner or my threads up. I can also take a lighter if I want to. Burn that thread down a little bit and then just go in and burn it flat down towards the project, which is going to make a little bump in my thread. But with this bracelet and design, it does not matter. Fringe bracelets tend to be a little bit heavier, so when you are choosing your clasp, keep that in mind as you create, and make sure as you're doing and creating this, you pull that thread tight as you bring those 8/0s down next to one another to achieve that zigzag pattern. Thanks so much for joining me in this zigzag fringe garden bracelet. It's really fun to create and see all of the possibilities. Remember, if you do need materials, want to check out the subscription box, go ahead and look below the video. We always put in the description there a link to get back to our website. You can also subscribe and hit that like button so you don't miss anything from us here at PotomacBeads. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.